The story of the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin begins deep in American history, where the name Abraham Lincoln stands not only as a president but as a symbol of unity, sacrifice, and resilience. Lincoln, born in 1809, rose from a log cabin childhood to become the 16th President of the United States, a leader whose life reshaped the destiny of a divided nation. His presidency from 1861 to 1865 unfolded during the darkest chapter of American history, the Civil War, a time when the country was torn apart by slavery, political division, and violence. Lincoln's determination to preserve the Union and end slavery forever made him one of the most revered figures in American history, and more than a century later, his legacy was honored again through the Presidential Dollar Coin Program. The Presidential Dollar Coin Program was launched by the United States Mint in 2007, with the goal of honoring every deceased president of the United States in the order they served. Beginning with George Washington, the program aimed to educate the public, encourage coin collecting, and increase the circulation of dollar coins. Abraham Lincoln's turn arrived in 2010, making him the fourth president featured that year, following Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, and James Buchanan. But Lincoln's coin stood apart because his image already appeared on the 1-cent coin and the $5 bill, making this dollar coin another powerful tribute to his lasting influence. The 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin features a dignified portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, showing his familiar bearded face, calm eyes, and strong expression, a reminder of the burden he carried during the nation's greatest crisis. The inscription includes his name, Abraham Lincoln, the years of his presidency, 1861 to 1865, and the word liberty. Along with the year 2010, the edge of the coin carries additional inscriptions including "In God We Trust," "E Pluribus Unum," and the mint mark, a unique design feature of presidential dollars that separated them from traditional coin layouts. The reverse side of the coin displays the Statue of Liberty, a symbol chosen to represent freedom, democracy, and the ideals Lincoln fought to protect during the Civil War. Liberty stands tall, holding a torch and tablet representing enlightenment and law, a powerful image that ties Lincoln's legacy to the broader American promise of equality and justice. For all this reverse design was shared across the presidential dollar series, creating unity among the presidents while allowing each obverse to tell an individual story. The coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, both producing business strike versions for circulation as well as collector versions. Although by 2010, the presidential dollar coins were no longer released into general circulation due to low public demand. Instead, they were sold directly to collectors in rolls bags and annual mint sets, making the Lincoln presidential dollar more of a collector piece than a pocket coin. From a historical perspective, the timing of the Lincoln dollar carried special significance as it followed the bicentennial celebration of Lincoln's birth in 2009, a year filled with commemorative coins, events, and national reflection. The 2010 dollar coin extended that tribute, reminding collectors and historians that Lincoln's story does not end with monuments or textbooks, but continues through everyday objects like coins that pass history from hand to hand. In terms of value, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin is generally affordable in circulated or uncirculated condition, making it accessible to new collectors, while high-grade examples certified by professional grading services can carry a premium, especially those with flawless surfaces, strong strikes, and clean edges. Errors, such as missing edge lettering, doubled inscriptions, or off-center strikes are rare but highly sought after and can dramatically increase the coin's worth, turning a simple dollar into a prized collectible. Beyond metal and minting, the true value of the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar lies in the story. It represents a president who guided a fractured nation through war, abolished slavery, preserved the Union, and paid the ultimate price for his leadership. His assassination in 1865 shocked the world, but cemented his legacy as a martyr for freedom. Every time this coin is held, it serves as a reminder of sacrifice, courage, and the unfinished work of equality. For coin collectors, historians, and storytellers, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar Coin is more than a piece of copper alloy. It is a portable monument, a teaching tool, and a bridge between past and present, carrying the weight of history in a single dollar, a quiet but powerful tribute to one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known, and a reminder that history lives not only in books, but in the coins we collect, cherish, and pass on to future generations. Abraham Lincoln's journey to becoming a symbol worthy of a presidential dollar coin did not begin in power or privilege, but in hardship, struggle, and relentless self-education. Born on February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Kentucky, Lincoln grew up in extreme poverty, losing his mother at a young age and working long hours doing physical labor. Yet even in those harsh conditions, he developed a love for reading, borrowing books whenever possible, and teaching himself law, history, and politics. This self-made rise from frontier poverty to the presidency became one of the most powerful narratives in American history and made Lincoln a natural choice for lasting commemoration on U.S. coinage. Before becoming president, Lincoln served as a lawyer and a member of the Illinois state legislature, where he gained a reputation for honesty, earning the nickname Honest Abe, his debates with Stephen Douglas during the 1858 Senate race brought national attention to his views on slavery and the future of the nation. Although he lost that election, it set the stage for his presidential victory in 1860, a victory that immediately triggered the secession of Southern states and pushed the nation toward civil war. When Lincoln took office in 1861, the United States was on the brink of collapse. 7 states had already seceded and formed the Confederate States of America. Lincoln faced impossible choices, balancing military strategy, political pressure, and moral responsibility. His leadership during this period was marked by patience, resilience, and an unshakable belief that the Union must be preserved at all costs. This defining chapter of his life is what elevates his image on the 2010 presidential dollar beyond a simple portrait into a symbol of endurance during crisis. One of Lincoln's most important actions was the Emancipation Proclamation issued in 1863, which declared freedom for enslaved people in Confederate states. While it did not immediately end slavery, it transformed the Civil War into a moral fight for human freedom and laid the groundwork for the 13th Amendment, which permanently abolished slavery in the United States. This act alone reshaped the nation and forever linked Lincoln's legacy to liberty, making his appearance on the presidential dollar especially meaningful when paired with the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. The coin itself reflects this gravity through its restrained and respectful design. Lincoln's portrait is neither dramatic nor idealized. Instead, it presents him as thoughtful, burdened, and resolute, mirroring how historians remember him as a leader weighed down by responsibility, yet committed to justice. The inscriptions surrounding his image remind collectors of the brief but transformative years of his presidency, years that changed the course of American history forever. The edge lettering on the 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar holds symbolic importance as well. In God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, and the mint mark appear along the edge, emphasizing unity, faith, and national identity phrases that resonated deeply during Lincoln's time when the country struggled to remain one nation out of many. The use of edge lettering also connects modern minting techniques to historical tradition, blending past and present into one collectible object. As part of the presidential dollar coin program, Lincoln's coin also represents an educational mission. The U.S. Mint intended these coins to spark curiosity and learning, encouraging people, especially younger generations, to explore presidential history. Each dollar coin acts as an entry point into deeper stories, and Lincoln's story is among the richest, offering lessons in leadership, compromise, moral courage, and perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. The decision to include Lincoln in the presidential dollar series Despite his already iconic presence on other U.S. currency, highlights his unmatched importance in American identity, while other presidents may appear only once on a coin or bill. Lincoln's repeated appearance reflects the depth of his influence and the continued relevance of his ideals, even in the modern era. When the 2010 coin was released, the nation still grappled with questions of equality, unity, and freedom, echoing the struggles Lincoln faced more than a century earlier. Collectors often view the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar as a bridge between history and modern numismatics. It connects the classic imagery of Lincoln known from the penny with the contemporary design language of the presidential dollar series, making it an essential piece for complete collections and historical sets. While its monetary value may be modest, its historical weight is immense. Every presidential dollar tells a story, but Lincoln's coin carries a narrative of transformation, sacrifice, and unfinished work. It reminds us that progress is never simple or complete, and that leadership requires courage during moments of division. As this coin passes through collections' hands and displays, it continues to speak silently of a president who believed that government of the people by the people and for the people should never perish from the earth. As the Civil War dragged on, Abraham Lincoln faced constant criticism from all sides. Generals, politicians, newspaper editors, and even members of his own cabinet doubted his abilities. Yet Lincoln possessed a rare inner strength and emotional intelligence. He listened carefully, weighed opposing arguments, and often waited patiently before acting, a quality that historians later recognized as one of his greatest leadership traits. This quiet resolve is reflected in the calm, steady expression chosen for his portrait on the 2010 presidential dollar, a face that seems to carry the weight of a nation. Lincoln's relationship with the military was complex. He cycled through multiple Union generals, searching for leaders who would fight aggressively while minimizing unnecessary loss of life. His eventual support of Ulysses S. Grant marked a turning point in the war. Grant's relentless strategy, combined with Lincoln's political backing, finally shifted momentum toward Union victory. This partnership altered the course of history and ensured that the sacrifices of countless soldiers were not in vain. In 1863, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, a speech lasting just a few minutes, yet reshaping the meaning of the war and redefining American democracy. His words emphasized equality, national purpose, and the idea that the nation was dedicated to a proposition that all men are created equal. This moment stands as one of the most powerful expressions of democratic ideals ever spoken, and its spirit lives quietly within the presidential dollar series, especially on Lincoln's coin, which pairs his image with liberty itself. The final years of Lincoln's presidency were marked by exhaustion, grief, and determination. He carried the emotional burden of war casualties and personal loss, including the death of his son Willie. Yet he continued pushing for reconciliation rather than revenge, advocating for a generous approach toward the defeated Southern states, his famous call for malice toward none and charity for all revealed a vision of healing rarely seen after civil conflict, a vision that tragically would never be fully realized under his leadership. Lincoln's assassination in April 1865, just days after the Confederate surrender, shocked the nation and transformed him from a wartime leader into a near-mythical figure. His death at Ford's Theater turned him into a symbol of sacrifice and martyrdom, freezing his image in American memory as the man who saved the Union and ended slavery. This moment cemented his status as a permanent figure on U.S. currency, leading first to his appearance on the penny in 1909, then later on the $5 bill, and finally on the presidential dollar in 2010. The creation of the presidential dollar coin program, more than a century after Lincoln's death, reflects how deeply his influence remained embedded in American culture. By 2010, his ideals were still referenced in political speeches, classrooms, and social movements, making his inclusion in the series feel less like a formality and more like a reaffirmation of national values. The coin became a reminder that leadership rooted in humility and moral clarity can shape generations. From a numismatic perspective, Lincoln's presidential dollar holds unique significance because it exists alongside his earlier coinage appearances. Collectors often compare the youthful, idealized Lincoln of the 1909 penny with the mature, burdened Lincoln of the 2010 dollar, highlighting how artistic interpretation evolves with time. The dollar coin portrait emphasizes wisdom over youth experience, over optimism and reflection over ambition, mirroring how history ultimately remembers him. The year 2010 itself adds another layer of context as the United States faced economic uncertainty, political division, and social change, echoes of the challenges Lincoln once navigated. The release of his presidential dollar during this period felt symbolic, reminding the public that unity, perseverance, and moral leadership were still essential in modern times, even if expressed through a simple coin. For collectors, historians, and storytellers, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar becomes more than a collectible. It becomes a meditation on leadership, loss, and legacy. It invites reflection on how one individual's choices can ripple across centuries, shaping laws, freedoms, and national identity long after their lifetime ends. As this coin rests in albums, cases, or hands, it silently carries a message passed down through generations that democracy requires courage, that unity demands sacrifice, and that history is not distant or forgotten, but present in the objects we choose to remember.